Well, the Roadcraft demo has come to an end, but I have a lot of thoughts and opinions that I wanted to share with you before the game releases on May 20th, 2025. Hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and Roadcraft was probably one of the greatest demos of all time that I've ever played. I truly enjoyed it, and it was amazing to be able to play a few of the maps that will be coming later in May with a few friends. The co-op demo was a genius idea, and I really hope more developers do more things like that for the Steam Next Fest. And those things are really cool. Being able to play with friends and experience a game beforehand really is a good thing, because if a friend of yours, if you want to play co-op, is interested in the game too after the demo, then you get more people to play with. And this is definitely the type of game you want to bring friends for. Of course, the wonderful successor to SnowRunner, this game I think by no means is trying to be SnowRunner 2, and also really made me appreciate Expeditions, a MudRunner game, a lot more. Now, SnowRunner back from 2020 is a game that really packs a massive punch. It has a ton of amazing stuff with it, lots of maps, different construction projects, and a lot of hauling and difficult route planning through difficult terrain. And Expeditions is about the same thing too, doing a lot less with the roads and a lot more with just no roads at all. You're in the middle of nowhere doing like scientific research, and you could build a few bridges and a few things like that. It has a little bit of the spirit of SnowRunner in there, but it is truly an off-road experience focused more on scout vehicles. And after playing MudRunner a little bit, I liked it and wanted them to do something more. When Roadcraft was announced, it blew my mind, and with the demo, I have a greater respect for Expeditions and a much bigger concern for, can they ever beat SnowRunner? And I think the answer is yes, but it's going to have to be a long time, and they're going to have to explore a little bit more of what they've made here with the whole Runner franchise. We have like a holy trinity now, right? We have SnowRunner, we have MudRunner, and we also have, and that's Expeditions and MudRunner game, and now Roadcraft. And so I think these three games are very much the same and very much different. And I also think that are incredibly amazing like concepts for a game that's not yet out either. I think American Truck and Euro Truck Simulator and also Farming Simulator are amazing driving games too, and wonderful to play with friends. And it's so cool to be able to deliver cargo and make money and grind things out and make a company. And I hope eventually these games let us do that too. But I feel that the playing field for this game is wide open for off-road simulators that have ground deformation and offer a lot of challenging terrain that you have to think about quite a bit. Now, SnowRunner is a game that was a lot more about route planning, and Expeditions is kind of the same thing too with fuel, but Roadcraft didn't have any of that. And I wanted to talk about a few of the things that were upsets or disappointments or maybe letdowns that people were showing some concern for, and get some of the air out of the room, which I think maybe won't be so bad. After playing the demo for probably what felt like 100 hours, playing the same 3 missions that came in the Roadcraft demo over and over again, I really feel like I didn't miss the fuel management so much, since I was just driving a short distance back and forth to the same area. It's almost like if you've ever played Out of Ore, that wonderful open world mining simulator with modern mining equipment. You do have to do a lot of refueling in that game, but it essentially has you pull up to a pump and then hold F and then drive away. Even Euro Truck and ATS and even Farming Simulator make you do that, but it is pretty cool that their fuel is rather realistic for those games, and are calculated in a much different way based on your engine and your upgrades and your cargo weight. But in Roadcraft, I don't think it'll be that complicated, and I really appreciated the experience of what it's like to build a simple road. Now, it's not perfectly, realistic as to how it is to build a road. There are some of the basics there, like cutting down trees, then removing stumps, and then in this case, you're dumping sand in order to then dump pavement on top of it, and that's not truly realistic, but it is simplified so that way you can build massive projects with friends. You don't have to just build a 2-lane road back and forth. You could build almost like a 4-lane highway or a parking lot. The demo allowed us to do a lot of those things, and I thought that was cool. So it was great to have no fuel management in the demo, and perhaps there could be a hardcore mode in the future, and that could be something down the roadmap in the future. You see what I did there? Yeah, that's why you guys subscribe to this channel and hit that like button, right? That's why you guys are becoming members. That top quality right there, that top quality comedy that you come here to see, I'm sure. Anyway, so getting back to some of the other problems of the game, I think, or at least some concerns that people showed, is that some of the ground physics, it seemed a lot easier to navigate than in Expeditions or in SnowRunner, or even the forgotten MudRunner. I do remember a lot of MudRunner, would like to play it again after playing these 3 games too. But regardless, I think it's a much more easily navigated terrain, because we got to see so much in the demo, like cable laying and cutting down trees and stumps and moving those around. And I think a lot of people were wanting to see a little bit more in terms of the multiplayer too, like just the 4-player limitations. Even I was saying from the very beginning I wanted something that was more 6 to 8 players, because so many people want to play a game like this. So the fuel management and the limited co-op was a little bit of a disappointment when they announced that, and it was also a disappointment in the demo too. And some of the road building simplifications are a little annoying as well, but honestly it's the only game of this type that we have. So there's some other things like that, including a few of the mechanics where upgrades will work, where you unlock a vehicle, the rusty version of it, and then eventually upgrade it over time. Maybe some of the vehicle choices will be limited, but you know, I'm judging this demo as a demo, an incomplete project. Basically, it was a great demo and an outstanding idea. So as a demo, it was solid. As a thing to then bring up the red flags up front, which might turn some people off to the game, I also think that was a good thing, because as it came out at the end of February and into March, that is a great time between now and May for them to address those concerns, tell people that, you know what, actually we do want to do that in the future, or no, we won't. To essentially be clear on what they have planned after launch was a very good thing. So to turn a little bit of a negative into a positive, I think that was a great idea. And there's some tricks to the game in which some things aren't fully explained yet, that we had to learn over time. Limited dump trucks of the demo were also a little annoying. We only got 1 dump truck, so 3 players in a 4-player game waiting for the one guy to come around with a dump truck to dump sand was a little bit obnoxious, but honestly it could have been way worse. So again, I think this was just one of the best demos I played of all time, and I think the things that held it back didn't keep me from enjoying the 3 different maps that we had, the 3 regions of like the forested, either Eastern Europe or North America somewhere type feel. The first map having us build a road, essentially, if you wanted to, after laying cable and then also delivering some wood to then build a bridge and deliver a power transformer. It was a kind of a little taste of like SnowRunner in there, except afterwards we were just building bridges, me and my friends, from the sawmill down to the logging area at the substation, and that was a fun little side project to do too, and really opens the door to where if you want to spend 10, 20, 30, 40 hours on a map just perfecting everything and making it look good. Well, this goes back to a little bit more on what people brought for criticism of when you're building a road that's a perfect 2-lane highway or something like that. We want to see painting and decoration too, to be able to put up guardrails or lights, or maybe put in signs that indicate 4-way stop, or have some sort of traffic control with friends and making a road a 1-way or something of that nature. I think the game will greatly benefit from that if the developers confirm that they would put that in later. And then also no drainage, or the ability to put down you can't really make bridges that are there's a little trickiness to it. I can't really explain it, but essentially if you put down a bridge, sometimes you try to dump sand all the way up to the bridge to make like an elevated bridge, and the game will delete all the sand around the basin. And so then you basically think to yourself, okay, well, it would be much easier to then just cover everything in sand and do what we did back in Farming Sim of putting down wood chip bridges everywhere and then bulldozing over it. And so yeah, it seems like often to dump sand down and just pave it is way easier than having to build asphalt too. And so there's not really a reason all the time to put down asphalt other than your personal satisfaction. It might be needed as a requirement for some of the convoys, but if for your purposes your construction vehicles just need to get somewhere, yeah, you could build a sand road for them, sure. But it's your type of game and you can play it however the hell you want. So if you want a bigger challenge, you spend more time doing that, and it's really the type of game where you do what you want, just like how in Farming Simulator you could just hack a file, buy the biggest farm, and just start growing crops, or you can start from scratch and then build your farm up that way, decorate it, and then make more money to then decorate it further later. And that's how I think I want to play with friends, where we go in with a lot of respect for the map and the environment and say, okay, to the best of our ability and with the limitations of the vehicles, which that paver was super underpowered, as well as the roller, we are going to try to make the best road we can. And so I think honestly in the demo, those are the worst roads that anybody's ever going to make. Everybody was new, our vehicles were underpowered, and we're playing with an incomplete version of the game that was, essentially a demo. And rather than focusing on upgrading the demo or making it better, which I don't think we'll get a demo between now and May 20th when the game releases, but it certainly would be nice, but I have no hope for that. But if it happens, great. I'll be delightfully surprised. Anyway, yeah, the ability to make better roads, I think, will come with more practice, and I hope they refine a lot of those vehicles and get feedback on some of the, underpowered vehicles and some things that were a little, you had to learn by just doing that. So hopefully they learn from some player feedback and make it better. Other than that, the second map, the desert map, was very fun to see how the AI will build roads almost perfectly. Like, the leveling and the unlimited pavement or asphalt that they have was really cool. That's another thing players kind of criticized, was that, for example, with the sand truck has to return to the quarry from time to time in order to refill, and there's a large circle around it, and some people were saying that wasn't so realistic. But again, you have the control, just like in Construction Simulator, to, in that game, you can spawn asphalt or like concrete into the back of your mixers, and you can do so via a hotkey, and so you can also fast travel over to the concrete plant if you want to, and then also manually drive over there and fill it up yourself too. And we used to kind of do that as well. And with more players, I think you could do that level of realism, which is why I wanted to see 8 to 10 to 12 players and have dump trucks lined up for miles dumping sand and then going back to the quarry, which sounds incredibly boring, doesn't it? Who the hell would ever want to do that? But if you think about it, games like Foxhole, a top-down, like, kind of World War I, World War II simulator, logistics is incredibly important in those games, and you'll have people spending an entire weekend gathering supplies and driving them down the road and doing it over and over and over again. And people doing that in in ATS and Euro Truck, American Truck Simulator and Euro Truck, for big events, just delivering the same things to a factory or something like that. That's fun. And so, having to go to the actual circle is a little annoying when you try to build further away. So hopefully in the future, with some of the pre-order bonuses like the crawler and other dump trucks that they were showing that are in the base game, that'll get a lot easier, especially when 4 players can afford that too. So it is probably one of the greatest demos I've seen of all time, and probably one of the most promising games I've seen of all time, in terms of the AI also helping to take care of some of that road building. And cleaning up with the cranes. The cranes were a lot less weak than they were in SnowRunner and in Expeditions too, which I think there's some vehicles that have a crane. I believe so. I can't recall 100%, but some of the vehicles from SnowRunner are in that game, and they both do have cranes in real life. But yeah, I think that's really, really cool. I mean, that's a very amazing thing to be able to see that, and I hope we get more things in Roadcraft that mimic that. Like, for example, the map that allows us to almost see it like a drone, much better than SnowRunner's map. And the drones in Expeditions I want to see in both games too. But that top-down map and the ability to lay out your routes and things like that, and plan out your own, you can put down markers for yourself, you can put down markers and share them with friends, you can have the AI do stuff, is just great for big projects, and also good for players. If you only have another friend, it's just the two of you, you can also have the AI help out a little bit. Or if you just absolutely loathe one of the tasks, like rolling or dumping sand, then you could just have the AI do that part of the job, and it kind of saves you the frustration. And also helps to make a more pretty looking road, because as I mentioned, the paver has unlimited asphalt to be able to pave with, but the dump truck does not unless you use the AI to do it. So it just makes a much more beautiful surface. And then onto that third mission, after completing the delivery there to the concrete plant, you then have the third mission to reconnect and repair like steam pipes or water pipes for a geothermal plant. And that one was a doozy. Looking at that map, all destroyed with like these giant gashes in the land from an earthquake, were very cool to navigate, and created some problems that we immediately thought of SnowRunner, like, okay, we have to plan this super complicated route around. No, you just dump sand over everything, and it becomes easy mode that way. And as I mentioned, you can just dump sand everywhere, and you can build those roads for your construction equipment. There's no real reason to have to build a paved road, but it's way cooler. And to maybe see some missions in the future where the community wants you to build a road, because a lot of these people just have cars and light trucks. To have a task where we have to build roads that look nice and are, complete, or to do it for your own satisfaction, is just a great idea. So honestly, Roadcraft, with all the footage that I've been seeing over the months leading up to the demo that just started for the last Steam Next Fest, has gotten me hyped. But the demo itself was just like the perfect Boolean cube of beautiful flavor, and that flavor is gameplay. I mean, it's a game that I wanted to continue to play that demo with different friends each time and just see how they would tackle tasks. And I played it myself, and I beat all the missions myself, and then I did it again. I think I did it a third time. Then I started to bring in friends and see how they would tackle the problems, and I sat back as being kind of an advisor and a foreman and saw how they came up with things. And I learned things by them just coming up with ideas like driving onto the top of buildings and dumping sand up to the side of a hangar and then driving over it. I mean, if you want to do that, you can, and it's hilarious, the things that you can come up with. I wanted to play it as if I were playing a realistic, like when you build beautiful roads in city skylines, where you want to make roads look nice and be able to handle all the traffic. But my friends coming up with just geniusly hilarious ideas of just doing it because it could be done and pushing the game to its boundaries. I think that was the best part of that game, is playing with all different backgrounds of people who solve problems differently. Men and women, young and old, just trying to do the best they can to just tackle the job and be like, we need to deliver this over there, but this thing is in the way. How do we get around that, or how do we get over that? And then the game will ask you that same question too when it releases. It'll be like, well, look, we need you to deliver, a bunch of heavy cables to this farm over here because, I don't know, they're setting up a new system or something for irrigation. It's hoses or something like that. But there's a huge, there was an earthquake and now there's a gash in the land. How do you do that? And of course, there's many different ways to tackle those problems, with the ability to build bridges, which is frickin' amazing, right? Being able to set up a bridge pretty much anywhere with limited rules. The bridge building is a little restrictive, more than I was hoping, but much more than any other game. I mean, honestly, the fact that we have bridge building and that we could do it at an angle is outstanding. That's really cool, and we could build different bridges too based on the materials. So you could build, a wood bridge, a concrete bridge, or a steel bridge, and then you could also build those kind of like a ramp, where the wood bridges are more flexible for light and medium vehicles, and then concrete and steel bridges might be required for other vehicles. Unfortunately, another setback is I didn't see a weight limit to these bridges. I didn't even see the bridges move, which is something I think I even saw in maybe Mud Runner and Spin Tires a million years ago, where players would put down modded bridges that would kind of rumble and shake and creak whenever you drive over them. But these bridges, which could totally have weight limits, don't seem to have that. It's not that it's not going to be in the final version of the game, but it would only add points. At this point, the only thing that I can think of right now, just thinking deeply, the only thing that could hold this game back right now, I think, is just all these things that could be a +1. It's either a 0, a no score, or a +1. And so I think, quite honestly, there needs to be a big list of things that they should add right before release, or I hope they add right before release on player feedback, and then also add to their roadmap that would just give players a extra, I don't know, just scoring points with them. For example, there is on the second map, a flatbed truck that has a winch on it, but you can't actually use the winch on the, on the flatbed section of the wrecker to basically pull a vehicle onto that flatbed. And there's no, strapping down of a vehicle with a friend in it. It gets all crazy with the physics, and so you have to kind of have somebody get out of the vehicle. There's all these little weird quirks and extra things that are just like, oh man, they still haven't fixed that. Oh, this was a problem in SnowRunner like day one. This is still not fixed in their third game. Yeah, there's things like that all over, but it seems like they fix one problem. There's like 20 problems. They fix one. DLCs come out, and then there's another problem, but then the DLCs add 5 new fun things to do, and then I honestly kind of forget about the problems and just work around them, knowing the differences between the games. And I was a much more cautious driver in SnowRunner and Expeditions until Roadcraft, and then Roadcraft spoiled me, and then, because it's a much easier game to drive around in, and then having problems again driving in Expeditions and also SnowRunner. On learning the easier game of off-road driving really makes you appreciate the difference between the 3 of those games. Honestly, they're completely different off-road experiences that offer different things, and I have to recommend them all. If I said, oh, what is my favorite, it's all of them, because when I get bored of SnowRunner, I'd like to play Expeditions, and when I get bored of Expeditions, which I recently completed with our good friend Nicholas, the newest season to Expeditions that lets us go up into the snow and the mountains and also drive around a RC car, it makes me want to go right back to playing Roadcraft again, and then we're right back to SnowRunner. So these games, when you get bored of it, I mean, how many times have you made a meal out of chicken? You could eat chicken every day each week and it'd be a completely different thing. It could be savory or salty, or in a burger, or mixed into things, or whatever, just a regular old chicken breast. There's so many different ways to prepare chicken, and I think that's what this formula is for all sorts of open world driving simulators. But yeah, absolutely, any sort of the runner games take the cake for the off-roadness. Any game that has you driving off-road, ATS and Euro Truck come close, and it feels like you're driving on compacted sand. But if we could just get a little bit of sprinkle of like ground deformation. I know Farming Sim has this now, but if we had something where just a little bit of the terrain would affect our driving, that would be outstanding. So if Farming Simulator had a little bit of mud after the rain and it was hard to get tractors around, which SnowRunner does have a little bit of farming in it, it gives you a lot of respect for how far ahead this game is, and other games don't even try it. And this game is now trying to do other things too. So a big round of applause to the development team for coming up with yet another game that seems mind-numbingly boring and is super, super satisfying. It's the same with Flight Sim, it's the same with Train Sim games. You think that they'd be boring and you just hit button to fly, and then you realize it's all about these systems and people cooperating together, especially in a serious multiplayer environment, to complete a job, even if they're having fun and a good time. That's kind of what makes the difference. So when it comes to all the games I mentioned, I really like them all, but I think that Roadcraft is pushing the limits to where I want to see some of these other games go too, where we get to choose what we build somewhere, deliver the materials for it, and then it's there, and then everybody gets to interact with it. And that's what's exciting about like ATS events. You know, like rebuilding Big Sur because there was a landslide, and then all players not being able to use that road and route and then bring materials out to clear the way just kind of felt cool. Like, yeah, we did it, guys, yeah. And it's just cool to see those numbers. So I hope that also Roadcraft has some sort of statistic which shows how many players did X number of jobs or whatever. Just finding out what the globe did is pretty cool, and they do that all the time for these Steam Next Fest demos, like how many people downloaded it, how many hours were played, how many tons of sand were dumped. I don't know how they calculate that. If they did, that's cool as hell. But anyway, I'm going to keep you all focused and informed on any sort of news around Roadcraft here on this channel, including any new features that come out or spotlights from the developers showing, like for example, the first time that we saw tracked vehicles officially in a MudRunner game. Technically this is Roadcraft, but I mean, you know, there were mods that brought in tracked vehicles before, but now we're seeing them for the first time, and they were really cool. So more to do and more to share on vehicles that are bulldozers, new vehicle reveals, new map reveals, and first looks here on this channel. Make sure you sub and let me know how hyped and excited you are down below. Or are you not hyped? Is this one you're going to skip over, or is this a game where you think with mods it would be more interesting? I don't know. Just let me know any thought that came to your mind during the demo. What did you really like? What did you really love? And what's something you want to see change for Roadcraft? And I say that, and I'm absolutely begging you, please do leave a comment so the developers can see that and we can share that with them too. Otherwise, go into their Discord, leave a review on their demo too if you played it, and give all the feedback, man, because our voices, especially before release and shortly after, are very powerful in directing the developers on where we want this game to go, and I think it's going boom, straight to the moon. All right, you guys are awesome. Thanks again for watching another video. I'm just more than happy to yap about this game any day, all day. So if you have any questions, again, let me know down below in the comments section. You all enjoy your day, and I will see you on the roads in Roadcraft on May 20th. Let's go. Hype and excitement. It's real.